book fans, welcome to another exciting edition of Cammy's Comic Corner. I'm your host as always, Cammy. Now I am coming live from New York Comic Con on the East Coast. And I brought my whole backdrop with me. No, it's not true. I'm not at the New York Comic Con this weekend, unfortunately. But a lot of your other favorite podcasters and comic book professionals are. So, you know, let's just follow them on Twitter or whatnot. But back to my show. Let's get to the pick of the week. The pick of the week from Marvel. We have Tron Betrayal #1, written by Jai Nitz and art by Andie Tong. Now, I've been a fan of Tron, and I can't wait for the upcoming movie later this year. And the fact that Marvel and Disney are working together to have this prequel comic, it just blew me away. Because, you know, you want to know, they can't fill in everything from the sequel, you know, that's happened in between 1983 and now. So what better medium to show you what's happening than the comic books? Hello! Only the real fans are going to read the comic books and know all about the prequel and, you know, all this other stuff and what's going on and be in the grid, as it were. But moving on to why it's the pick of the week. We have Kevin Flynn, who has, you know, become in charge of the company of Encom, having all the greatest video games distributed throughout the world through this company. But he's leading a double life. You know, yes, he's going to the board of directors meetings and whatnot and showing, yeah, look, productivity's up, sales are up, yada, yada, yada. But what he's really doing is going back to the whole grid in, you know, Tron universe of programming this world to have more programs living in it, etc. And then it evolves to a point where the programs are living themselves and just showing up out of nowhere. And he's still trying to maintain the whole little city, the little, you know, the universe from falling apart because there's all these, you know, defects coming on. But he employs Tron, the original security system that we see from the film. And then he also can't be in two places at once, so he makes Clue come back. And Clue was the original program built by him in his image that we saw in the first film. So now you have Kevin Flynn in this universe, and you have Tron in this universe, maintaining order while he's away between both worlds. Well, he's really starting to become involved with you know, getting ready for his son's arrival in the real world, and they the CLU, or the Clue of the grid, is kind of losing faith in Kevin and going, hey, listen, you need to, you know, maintain us too, you know. And he's starting to doubt his creator, as it were. So, and why it's called Betrayal is you're starting to see the decline in faith from this universe of their own maker. And then at the end of the issue, you see the son being born, and then it's all going to go downhill from there in the next issue. But you get light cycles, you get new costumes, you get more rich background information of what's been going on since 1983. And if you're a Tron fan and you're looking forward to this sequel coming up in December, this is the book to get. Yes, it is $5. Yes, it seems a little steep, but it's worth it. And there's going to be another one coming out, who knows, maybe a couple weeks, and then it'll be collected right before December, and then everyone can get caught up and know what's the dealio. So yes, pick of the week. I had tons of fun. You will too. Go check it out. Now on to the Fast Five. First up from Marvel, we have Uncanny X-Force #1. Now, this is the new ongoing, revolving around a new team from the Uncanny X-Force. We are introduced to Deadpool going around this ancient temple. He's trying to track down something. Turns out they're all trying to find the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and trying to keep Apocalypse from coming back, and they decide they need to kill him once and for all. On the team now, we have Psylocke, we have Angel/Archangel, we have Deadpool, we have Phantom X, we have Wolverine. And the thing about Phantom X and Deadpool are, under Rick Remender's writing and care, they don't just say whatever stupid thought comes to their mind, you know. Deadpool is actually saying some really funny things, and he's not, you know, constantly breaking the fourth wall, constantly going over the top, like many writers and creators have tried to make him in their, you know, in that image in the past year and a half. So you get this great team, you have great cool fights against ancient beasts and mythological creatures, and just seeing the 12 different variant covers, my favorite was Assad Rebix. But yes, this team's back together, it seems to be fun times, and, you know, it's the Uncanny X-Force, it's something new. It's probably going to be worth your bang for your buck in these upcoming issues. You got Jerome Opinion on art. You know, him and Rick Remender, they're like this. They're always a good creative team. So go pick it up, go check it out. I think you're going to have a fun time. Next up from Vertigo, we have Sweet Tooth number 14. Now, Jeff Lemire continues to just paint this wonderfully dark and creepy post-apocalyptic world as we have all the hybrid kids get released from their captors. This one, captor who's been sympathizing with them, who actually got them in trouble the last couple of issues, makes them, or puts them in the sewage drains and has them, escape to freedom. Meanwhile, Jeopard is trying to get all these local tribes together to invade this militia headquarters so he can get the hybrid kids, mainly Gus, back, because he felt so wrong about it. So we have all these events in this issue opening up to a big fight next issue. But along the sewer, one of my favorite parts was another hybrid kid gets attacked by this, half kid being. And so, this is where they flush their hybrid kids that they don't need anymore. Gus takes a really strong leadership role in this one particular moment, and this is why the hybrid kids look up to Gus and why he is going to be, their savior, their own personal savior in a way. Gorgeous art, great story. If you haven't been reading Sweet Tooth, the first trade's out. You have no excuse not to go read it. You're going to enjoy it. I think so. I think you're going to have a really enjoyable experience with this title. It's something new and something different, by far. Next up from Dark Horse, we have Dethklok number 1. Now, if you're a fan of the Adult Swim show Metalocalypse, you want to pick up this issue. It reads as its own episode that, didn't air on TV. You have the creative team of Brendan Small and John Shep and Lucas Marinagon. I know that Brendan Small and John Shep are the creative team of the actual TV show. So having them actually doing the writing and art duties, it really works out well. We have Dethklok trying to expand into the frozen food market because, quote unquote, what's more brutal than food that's been frozen to death? You have all the personalities of Pickles, Toki, Swissgar, Nathan, Murderface, all in this issue. You can hear their voices in your head. You can hear them boxed about dildos, and then you can hear them about bloody snow cones because they're so metal. They're talking, no, it's not metal. And then you have, it's great. Murderface is on Chitter. You get, you see Dr. Roxo, the rock and roll clown. He just cocaine. And it's just, it's so much fun. This was this close to being pick of the week because I had such an enjoyable time with this issue. And plus you get a gorgeous cover by Eric Powell, who has to be a fan because this art is so they even had a Goon Meets versus Dethklok issue maybe a year ago. It was fun times. But yes, you get all that and more. You get a brutal song at the end. Go pick it up if you're a fan. If not, and you like metal, this is pretty brutal. I gotta say. Next up from Vertigo, we have iZombie number 6. Now, this was the origin story of Scott, aka the Were-Terrier, as we see how he was an only child. Both his parents died in a car crash. He lived with his grandfather, who did the voice of the animated show Mr. Chimps. And he grows up in this environment of cartoons, not really many ambitions as much, graduates college. Grandfather and him kind of lose track after a while. And then, one day when he's walking home, he sees this dying dog on the sidewalk, and when he touches it, he gets the magic, the powers that make him the Were-Terrier, and then he has to deal with every time a full moon comes out, he has to stay indoors so no one can see his appearance, because he does look like a Were-Terrier. And then finally, at the end, we see him visiting his grandfather who's in the hospital dying, who still thinks he's kind of full of shit with his story of telling him his origin story of how he became the Were-Terrier. And his soul gets transferred to a chimpanzee in the local zoo. And Scott's telling this chimp all of his problems, and it turns out it's his dad, or his grandfather, and it's ironic because he did the voice of this cartoon called Mr. Chimps, and now he is a chimp. And then Scott helps him break out of the zoo. But it was great storytelling, great art by Mike Allred, who you see a couple of sequences where it takes you right back to his X-Force and, Mad Men days of superhero and action poses and cool battles. So yeah, it was a good bang for your buck. I've been liking this series. I think it's the art particularly because you can never get enough Mike Allred in my opinion. You always need more. So if you like what you hear from this review alone, go pick it up. It's only 6 issues into it. The trade's I'm sure going to be out soon. Treat yourself. And finally this week from Marvel we have Ultimate Thor number 1. Now, Jonathan Hickman is, again, on a new Marvel title, and once again, I'm liking it. S.H.I.E.L.D. came out also this week, and it was okay. It's not really, you can't really completely understand it every issue, but with Ultimate Thor #1, you definitely could, and you had tons of fun. I mean, in the opening shot, we have ice trolls and Nazis invading Ragnarok. What? So then we get the whole origin story of the European Super Soldier Initiative are hiring Donald Blake to come look at their subject of Thor, try to help him out because he's in the middle of this room trying to remember his origin story and, his whole history, his family history. And then we get, little flashbacks of back in World War II where Zemo is approaching Hitler saying, look what I found. I found all these stones that open certain access points and then, we can invade Asgard and all these different worlds. Hitler's intrigued, says, send the finest troops to go, investigate this. And then you have the history of before, Ragnarok went to shit. We have, Loki and Thor and Balder fighting ice trolls, having a fun time while their father Odin is building this something called Mjolnir. We don't know what it is, but obviously it's Thor's hammer later on. But then you see Baron Zemo getting the help from the ice trolls to invade Asgard. So it's only a 4-issue miniseries, but just this first issue alone grips you. You got that gorgeous Carlos Pacheco art. What's not to love? I had fun. This is how Thor should be. You got 15 Thor titles coming out right now because the movie's coming up, but this is the one that if you were a fan of the Ultimates by Millar and Hitch, you're gonna like this story. I think Jonathan Hickman knows what he's doing with this issue. Well, comic book fans, that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. If you want more Cammy's Comic Corner goodness, head on over to www.cammyscomiccorner.com. From there, you can read the book of the month, The God Machine for this month. You can write me a review on iTunes because all the reviews help get more people interested and help them find the show and help me continue to do what I'm doing. Also, you can listen to Geeky Talkie at the site at www.cammyscomiccorner.com/Geeky Talkie. This past week, I had on a plethora of guests as we renamed it Drinky Talkie. Let's just leave it at that. Lots of hilarious conversations ensue in that hour. Also, if you like any of the kick-ass t-shirts you usually see me wearing, head on over to deadlinegraphics.net and send Kelly an email. He does the best of Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, whatever custom-made t-shirts you want. There's only one name that I trust, and it's him at deadlinegraphics.net. Also, big shout-out to Rising Sun Creations at rsc-online.com. They specialize in the best of manga, U.S. comic books, and collectible toys imported straight from Japan. So that does it this week for Cammy's Comic Corner. I just got back from New York Comic Con. I'm not telling more lies, and I need to get rid of all the bed bugs. So, yes, again, I didn't make it this year. Maybe next year, who knows? We'll have to see how the funding goes and if I can whore myself out to enough sponsors to pay for me and a cameraman to fly to New York, hotel fees, yada, yada, yada. So for all of you who are in New York and are attending the con, I wish you night-night and hope the bed bugs don't bite. And by bed bugs, I mean herpes.